Look at this. You see that? Now, because you have your middle character, you get even more. When you come back, you get an additional bar. You get 1 bar, which is very good because you get the party even more. So the more your characters die, the more of the invitation you get to party. Yo, what's good, everybody? We are back, and you already know I'm about to tell you guys right now. Support your boy. Support him. All right, so today's video, we're going to go ahead and talk about how to get into KOF 15. It's a new game that's coming out right now. It's coming out February, but it's a beta that came by this weekend. And I'm going to go ahead and break down the mechanics a little bit so people can understand King of Fighters 15. Even though it may seem like a lot of stuff going on, but I'm telling you guys right now, this game is very, very straightforward, but it has a lot of meter resources that you definitely have to keep an eye on, especially jumping into a new game like this. But before we jump into the video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Leave in the comment section below, is this helping you guys out getting into the KOF series, man? It's a great series, bro. And I think that once we get the full game, you're going to be able to see all these cool-ass characters and what they have to offer. I'm extremely excited right now. Let's jump into it. So today's video, I want to help you guys out for getting ready for KOF 15. And I know a lot of people are just like, what the hell is going on the screen? So I'm just going to help you guys today about what these meters does, right? I'm gonna keep it really simple, really straightforward, and if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. So it's a 3v3 game, and it doesn't work as like a tag game. It's like you pick 3 characters and you select the order of what the characters you want to play. And sometimes if you be like, oh, I don't want this order, you could go back and change the orders, but you have to remember the inputs of the characters that you selected the order in. So basically, when you select your order, once your character dies, the next character comes out. But when the next character comes out, this we're going to talk about right now is how the meter works, right? Basically, your first character, naturally, is going to start with 0 meter, and the max power gauge you can get is 3. So that means that you only could get 3 max meter, right? And basically, what happens is, it's like, you know, there's a strategy, right? It's like, oh, I want my first character to come out, build meter. If you get half meter, you get stuff like this. So you see how now you can do an EX move when you have half meter. Having 1 bar opens up things like super, what is like this. You know, so that costs 1 bar. Now another thing, so this move is called like blowback, right? So this is like everybody has a blowback move. Would you press the heavy punch and heavy kick simultaneously together? But there's a new mechanic called Shatter Strike, basically. And basically, if you do like a fireball motion, you can do 2-3-6 motion, and with the blowback button, and you get like a Shatter Strike. And Shatter Strike kind of works like focus attack a little bit. So it's like basically like an armor attack, right? Now, this costs a bar if it whips, but if the Shatter Strike connects, you see that it only costs half a bar. So if you do Shadow Strike like raw like this, you're not going to be able to get like a juggle, right? You have to do something like very fast, but if you get in a combo, you have more time to do a link. So again, that's just all the stuff you could get from like a bar. Another thing too that you could do with a bar, which is pretty cool. So you got guard cancel. Guard cancel also costs a bar. So if you're in a bad situation, you just roll out. And sometimes when you roll a certain move, you can actually get a good punish. That also costs a bar. So you see how I got a punish off that? So you got to be very fast. Also, you have if you press you have like a knockback move like dead angle from like other games you play, or like V reversal for other games. They have something like that too, but it also costs a bar. Somebody's attacking you, knock them away, and you get started. But again, it costs a bar. Can you explain the guard meter? Okay, so that's another thing we can talk about, right? Before we go into the more UI meter that you can see in this game. So the guard meter, basically, is when this go down, once it hit here, you actually guard break them. And they are in an unblockable state. Any move after that animation, they cannot block it. So when you know they're going to break the guard, you want to be keeping an eye on that, right? What's cool about the guard bar too is I think now there's like an instant blocking mechanic that actually stops the guard bar meter. I think it reduces, if I'm not mistaken. So you see how you're like kind of like flashing, which is pretty helpful because you're going to be dealing with a lot of situations where some characters are going to be like on top of you for a little bit because of just how strong they are. This game does not seem beginner friendly. That is incorrect. This game is actually beginner friendly from what the original game was. Like, this game even has auto combos in it. And the cool part about it is when you have meter, you get like a super automatically, right? Which is pretty cool. So now let's talk about what happens when you have 2 bars, right? So you have 2 bars, you get a ability called max mode, right? Max mode, and it's like quick mode, right? So quick mode comes out when you're canceling from your normal, and you get like an auto run. And the cool thing about this mode, you can cancel your EXs, and it doesn't cost meter, but it costs the quick mode meter that you get. So you get something like this, for example, right? Look at my meter. You see I have 0, but I'm still spinning EXs. You also could cancel level 1 supers in this game. You can cancel level 1 supers in that mode without it costing a bar. Another thing that's also interesting too, when you do quick mode, you see how the meter is like smaller? So that means you have to cancel a lot more faster than normal, right? And then in this mode, it's also small, but you have more time, you see? You also get a damage buff from Brawl activation, which is pretty good. Also, Shatter Strike also costs max mode, so I think that's crazy. So if you get something like this, it's all from the max mode meter, right? Look at that. That's pretty sick. Also, another thing too that I forgot to mention is like level 1 supers. They also have level 2 supers, right? So you see how they cost 1 meter? And you get like cool follow-ups like that. Having that is also super good too. You get like confirms like this. There we go. Okay. So that's a lot of damage off of the kicks, right? Another thing you want to keep in mind too is, and this is what we're going to talk about a little bit more about the power gauge. So right now, you only could go up to 3 maximum. You see how I said maximum? That means the character that is available right now on the order you picked, this is as far as it goes. So your first character can only go up to 3 bars. But the cool thing about it is you can get access of like this move right here, which costs 3 bars. Which is another super. Another thing you want to keep in mind too is like when you're in this mode, because you have an extra bar and you have a super, if you're in max mode or quick mode, when you do a level 2 super, it only costs 1 bar on top of the meter, the max meter that you are in. So for example, if you do a level 2 super in here, it's only going to take 1 bar and half like a piece of the max meter. You see that? So even though you're in max mode, you still have access of like spinning your meter with the max mode, which is so sick. Can also do a level 3 maximum and it costs 1 bar. That's also crazy, but I think also it takes away all of your max meter, right? Boom. But it ends the mode. Oh, this is a really deep fighting game. KOF has always been really deep. I think this version of the game has gotten deeper than the one previous. I didn't really enjoy 14 as much because I felt like that it had no depth to it. It was just like the same thing over and over again because it had no like play outside of that. But this one in particular has such a lot. It has a lot of like thought in it, right? In terms of like why things cost this and why it costs that, why EX costs this. It makes a lot of sense, right? So now we're going to talk about the second character, right? This is like point character, right? So now you're going to talk about the middle character, right? So like when your first character dies, you get your mid character, right? And then when you get your mid character out, they come out with a bar. So now you have more access to like meter. And the cool thing about it too is your maximal gauge also increased. So like look at this. You see that? Now because you have your middle character, you get even more When you come back, you get an additional bar. You get 1 bar, which is very good because you get the party even more. So the more your characters die, the more the more of the invitation you get to party. Well, if you are 3, never use die, you start with 1 and second characters. No, you get an extra 1, and you are your second character. So you get an extra bar on top of the meter you have. Again, in your middle character. Now for your anchor character, this is where things get interesting. It's now you get 1500, and then you're at 5 now. And this is where the damage output gets pretty crazy because look at your max meter now. That is pretty huge. Oh, this is another important thing too. When you're in the super animation, your max meter just freeze. So that's something to keep in mind when you're like doing supers like this, right? Because you get to wait for the access damage like this, which is crazy. That's a lot of damage. You even got setups like that too, which is pretty cheap. I think we covered everything with meter in this game. I know there's a lot of stuff in this game that is like happening, but it's very important to know that these are the little things you gotta remember, right? And why people have access to like combos and stuff like that. I can't wait till like all the characters get announced, bro. I can't wait for this game to come out, bro. I just hope they fix that rollback, bro, and we in the money. I'm like, damn, we in the era where we can play KOF online, and the game is not about button into EX anymore. Now we doing button into situational interactions. Let's go.